everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be a little different, but it's going to be all the books I read in 2020. In 2020 I was trying to get back into reading. When I was younger I used to read a lot. I loved reading, I really enjoyed it. My friend and I used to make book clubs, both read a book and have a book club when I was like 10. So I really used to enjoy reading, and then as a teenager I just didn't know what I liked to read anymore and just never made time for reading. And so in 2020 it was one of my goals to get back into reading, and I kind of did. I have been watching so many videos on YouTube of books, about books and books people read in 2020 and everything. My favorite is Noelle Gallagher, I think her name is, and Elias, I think his name is. I'll put their channels in the description below if you like reading videos and blah blah, all that kind of stuff, and you haven't heard of them. I love them both. They're really good at talking about books and stuff. I've been watching their stuff and other people as well, but those are like the two that I subscribe to, and I'm gonna watch like all their videos in the future. But Noelle read like 160 books this year or something. I'm like probably off by a bit, but she read a lot of books, and that is just never gonna be me. So if you're clicking on this video expecting like a lot of books, not even close. People read this amount in a month easily. Not me. So I wanted to read a book for every month, so I wanted to read 12 books, and I didn't even like do that. So this is not one of those videos where there's a million books read, but I thought I'd still do it for like the people that are like in the middle. It's not like you don't read, but you also don't read that many books. So here's the middle ground. I feel like I'm in here. I'm gonna try and read more books this year, and I have like so many on my list, so hopefully that happens. But let's just get into it. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe and give it a thumbs up, turn on post notifications so you never miss a video from me, and comment down below other videos you want to see from me, books you think I should read, anything, just let me know. These are all the books I read this year. They're in order of the order that I read them. When I was thinking about making this video, I was looking at all my books and I was like, there is definitely a pattern in what I read and what I enjoy. So yeah, I would like to branch out, but I just don't know any books in other categories that I would really like. So again, comment down below ones you think I would like. The first book that I read in 2020, the book that got me back into reading, is called The One by John Marrs. This book is so good, and just spoiler already, this is my favorite book that I read the whole year. It's like, I don't even know how to describe it. I've watched videos where they mention it. Some of them call them thriller, some of them call them mystery. So I don't even know what you would categorize this as. I'm not very like super educated in the world of books, trying to be more, but it's basically some future world, I guess. They find out that in your DNA you can be matched with someone perfectly, and they're like your soulmate, and so you can send in your DNA just like one of those like 23andMe or whatever, and they'll send you your match. If your match has also done the DNA test, it follows 5 different stories. Some of them are good from the beginning and some of them are a little bit slow, but I think it's like all worth it in the end. They all end up really good. I actually will reread this book. I'm not one to reread books once I've read it once. There's my cat. My cat says hello. But I will reread this. I recommend this to all of my friends that read, and I recommend it to everyone. I really like Christopher's story. He's a serial killer, so if you like anything to do with serial killers. And Nick's story is really good. There's just like a million different twists throughout this book, since there's twists for each story. I don't even have words for it, because I find this book is like the best book I've read like ever. I really enjoy it. It said, I think after I read this, it was like really big display in my chapter/indigo, and they're making it into a Netflix show, or they were going to. Who knows if they still are. This was obviously before Corona, so I hope they do. I would watch it, and I think the show would be like a massive hit. If you see my cat, she wants to sit on my lap, so I'm sorry. But this one I would literally give 5 out of 5 stars. Such a good book. One thing that I really like about this book is, well, first of all, I love books where it has multiple different perspectives. I think it just like makes a book so much more well-rounded, and like you see everything without seeing spoilers or whatever. It just, well, this one's kind of different, but I just love seeing different people's perspectives. Also, it has shorter chapters, and I find books that have shorter chapters I'm more inclined to read. It's just like a mind trick for me. I think I'm like reading more even though I'm not. But yeah, those you'll see in all these books, or most of these books, it kind of is that idea as well. I want to read more from him. My friend read The Passengers, I think is the one by him, I think, and she liked it, so I definitely want to read more from him. It took me a long time to get through one book, so now we have Someone We Know by, I don't know how to say her name. I don't want to say her name wrong the whole video. Someone We Know from Shari Lapena, I don't know. Lapin. I think I feel very stupid every time I say her name, and I don't know. But this is it. My friend was reading a book from this author, and so I decided to get one as well. This year I read 3 of her books, so that just shows I like her writing style. She also writes in multiple perspectives, which I enjoy. And you know, this one reminded me more of like a book that I don't know how to describe it, but it just kind of made me think of like a book that like a mom that lives in the suburbs would read for her book club. And I don't know if it's just because there is, I think, a book club in this one, but yeah, that's what I imagined when I was reading this. I kind of felt like a mom reading this, but it was just kind of like a whodunit kind of mystery. Basically, it just is someone had been breaking into houses in this one street, and then trying to figure out who did that, and then they also end up, someone's been murdered on their street, so they're trying to see if it's connected, what the deal is, who did it, why they did it. I think out of the 3 books from this author that I read, this would be my least favorite, but it's still really good, and I'm gonna read probably all of her books that are out so far. I think there's like 2 or 3 that I haven't read. Then She Was Gone from Lisa Jewell. This book is messed up. It's kind of really messed up, but it's so good. I think it was Noelle. She read this as well. It's just kind of like, what? Basically, it is a story of a teenage girl goes missing, and then we follow the story of the mother 10 years later. She ends up dating this guy, and his daughter looks awfully a lot like her daughter did. While I'm reading this, I was like guessing what was happening. I had so many theories of what happened, and it was none of my guesses were correct. It was just so like, who thinks of that? Who thinks of this? But it's so good. So if you like a mystery thriller kind of book, I 10 out of 10 recommend this. I recommended this to my friend, who I also recommended the one to, and she was also just like, who thinks of this? This is messed up. But it's such a good read, and you know, thrillers and mysteries, you kind of can put pieces together once you read a few. There's kind of the formula for it or whatever, but this, I haven't read a book where it's like this, so I would so recommend this. So the next book that I read was One of Us is Lying from Karen M. McManus. She has become one of my favorite authors this year. I think I've read all of her books. I think she only has 3, but I also could be wrong, so I should look that up. But this is basically, there's a group of 5 people that get sent to detention. There's some suspicious activity around why they're in detention, and basically one of them ends up dead before detention is over. The student that dies made an app for gossip for their school, so people think it's Driven because of that, because he was going to make a post about the people in detention with him a few days later. So you go through of who did it, why they did it, and lots of twists and turns around the way. I think maybe at one point I guessed what happened, but I still really enjoyed it. This is also another book that you see it from different perspectives, and I think it made this and the sequel just well-rounded books. And I don't know, it's just like so much better when you see it from more than one person's perspective in something like this when it involves a bunch of people. I think I really like her writing, and I obviously bought the other books that she has, so definitely enjoyed the book. The next book is One of Us Is Next, also by Karen M. McManus. It is the sequel to One of Us Is Lying. Basically, I don't want to give away what happens in the first book. It mostly follows new people. Past characters from One of Us Is Lying are in this book, but it follows mostly new characters. There is a new gossip, truth or dare kind of game happening, and you have to do a dare or a gossip text will go out about you, and someone ends up dying. Don't think that's a spoiler. They become very dangerous dares, and so now they're trying to figure out who made this new truth or dare game and why. I'm really bad at describing books. I'm sorry, I don't want to give anything away. I don't know how to tell you what it's about without giving it away because I know all the details. They just each have their own stories and secrets they don't want to share. I don't know, I said don't like that. Secrets they don't want to share. I really like this. I don't know if I like the first or the second one better. I think she's a really good writer and I really enjoy her writing style. Would recommend her as an author. Then I read The Couple Next Door from Sherry. I don't know how to say her name. It's a couple, and they're at their next door neighbors, and they leave their baby at home, and a crime is committed in their home, and now they're trying to find out who committed the crime, why they committed the crime, if money has something to do with it, and there's backstabbing and all this juicy stuff in this book. One perspective in this book is the detective, and then the husband and wife. You can like kind of see one part of it happening. There's one twist which you can like, you might not get it, but you might get it. I can't remember if I got it, but you could see people would guess that. But then there's like a second layer to that lie, and that's like a really big twist, and I really liked it. I just really like her writing, so like it depends on if you think like that kind of story is good for you. I would just recommend her as an author. I like this book as well, but like for sure just check out her work in general. I think she's a really good author. Next, I have 8 Perfect Murders from Peter Swanson, and this was in a video of someone I watched about all the books they read in 2020 as well. They also had this as one of their favorite books from this year, and I think it's so good. I had never read Peter Swanson before, but from watching some book videos, there are some other books from him that I would like to read this year. I guess this came out this year, which I did not know until I saw it on someone else's channel. I could be wrong, but I'm quite sure that they said it came out this year. It follows a bookstore owner, and he makes a list of the 8 perfect murders from movies and books, I believe. Then the FBI come and tell him that someone is following that list and doing these 8 perfect murders in real life. Obviously, they think it's him. He teams up with the FBI agent and does work on his own, trying to figure out who the murderer would be, why they would be following his list of 8 perfect murders. A separate kind of story of the character's life before this, and that part's really interesting as well. It kind of reminded me a part of You. I actually haven't read the book for You, but the series You, it reminded me of the something that happens in the second season, or a character in the second season, which was interesting. I really liked this book. I'm definitely gonna check out more from Peter Swanson. The killings happen at first like sporadically, and then all of a sudden they get really fast, so like he has to figure it out. But yeah, I think it's a really good thriller. I definitely recommend this. This is one of my favorite books. I read this year as well. I'd probably put this at second, well, I don't know, yeah, probably second underneath the one. Third to final book, The Two Can Keep a Secret from Karen M. McManus. This is separate story from the other two. Honestly, I don't know, I kind of feel like, now I'm thinking about it, I kind of think I might like this one better, but I don't know if I do, because I think that was a really good series. I don't know if they're making more in the One of Us is Lying series. But yeah, I really liked this one. It just follows these twins. They have to go back to where their mom grew up. Back when their mom was a teenager, her sister went missing and it never got solved. Not describing this well. But basically it was when their mom was young, her sister went missing, and then years later, a girl gets killed at a theme park, and then where the story is, they have to go back to that town, and once they move there, someone's after the homecoming. What are they called? A homecoming court? I don't know. We don't have homecoming here, so I don't know what it's called. I forget. It just becomes as dangerous as it was in past years where girls have gone missing. There's just like a lot of secrets that keep coming up, and like you find out the truth, and you keep thinking you figured it out when they have that secret, but then the secret has nothing to do with the ending. This might be a little bit of a spoiler, I'm trying not to, but if it is, just skip like 30 seconds ahead. Someone gets caught in the end, you know, full circle kind of. And there's something at the very end of the book that makes me so mad, because I feel like they're not getting full justice. I'll just say that, and it just, I don't like it. I don't know how else to say it without spoiling anything, but I just don't feel like they got caught, but I don't feel like full justice is served because people keep a secret. Final book from Sherry, we're on first name basis, is The End of Her. This book came out this year as well, I believe, or maybe end of 2019, but I really enjoyed this book. It follows a couple, and they just had newborn twins. The twins don't sleep, you know, babies. Someone from the husband's past comes into their lives and causes quite a disturbance. The husband's first wife died, and this person from his past that comes back into his life is a little crazy and makes some accusations, and there's like blackmail involved. This one, when I tell you, I thought I knew what was happening, and then I was like, no, that's not what's gonna happen. And then it was just like, this is, I think, my favorite from her that I've read. It was most like, how did I not know that happened, but like also like that was a good way to write this book. Also, the end makes me think that there's a like sequel to it. I hope there is, because I really enjoyed this book. Just like so many twists and turns which you wouldn't see coming. Well, I didn't. Maybe if you read more thrillers or mysteries or whatever, but I did not see any of this coming. I just thought it was so good. Again, she writes it from multiple points of view, and it doesn't give anything away. This one is just like so well written. There's some characters I feel like kind of irrelevant, but also it just adds a little bit to the book. Maybe if they do a second book, it would be more important. I'm not sure. I really like the plot twist in the last 50 pages probably, or less, plot twist, and it's so good. I really like this book, and like at first it was a little bit hard. I don't even know if I would say hard to get into, but it was a little bit hard to get into, but it's worth it. It's just like, you're like, why am I reading a book about twins that don't go to sleep? Just push through it. It's so good. Finally, the last book I read of the year, I read it with like 2 days left in the year. It is called This Lie Will Kill You. It's by Chelsea Pitcher. So I've never heard of this book, but I found this website called, what's it called? Like Discounted Books. I'll put it on the screen. I can't remember what it's called. And so basically they just have books for extreme discount. Like I got books for like $2 just because they'll have like the tiniest bit of damage. Like they all have like these Sharpie marks on them. Some of them have like damage to just a tiny bit on the side, like nothing that will affect your reading. It's something that you would probably do to it yourself when you're reading. So anyways, I found this book. I thought it sounded really intriguing and it was really good. So basically before this book starts, a year before there was a party and all you know is someone dies. Someone hits a tree and their car goes up in flames and they die. Then you go to current day where these teenagers, a certain group of teenagers, I think there's 5 of them, are invited to this murder mystery party. These 5 teens supposedly had some part in the death of the teen from the year before. They're told if they go and they figure out this murder mystery party, they will win $50,000. All their stories are intertwined in some way. The stories leading up to the death of the character last year are unfolded, and basically they were invited to this murder mystery party by someone wanting to get revenge on them for the death of the teen the year before. The truth just slowly unfolds, and there's part of this book also, there's part of it where you kind of are like, okay, I know who it is. I mean, I guessed it at first, but then there's a second layer to it that you're like, oh, it's kind of weird. I will say there's part of this that's kind of weird. It's kind of creepy in some parts, but like I think I just was creeped out because I read this at like night in my room in like kind of the dark. So like don't do that. But I think this is actually a really good book. And maybe it could have been a little bit shorter. The only thing I didn't like about it, which it's kind of similar to Two Can Keep a Secret, at the end I just don't think there's like justice, and for me it's just like I love crime kind of topics and true crime and stuff, and there's just like when there's no justice, I just like that's like stuck in my head. So I always feel like there should be justice. In the very, very end of this book, I don't think there is. And so like that kind of bothers me, especially because this is like probably considered, yeah, 1000% it's considered a young adult book. And so I just feel like it just is not like a good lesson that there's no consequences or whatever. I just don't think that's a great lesson to have in a young adult book. But other than that, if you don't care about that, it's a good book. It's on that website, and I assume it still is, and it was definitely like under $10. And that is all the books I read this year. Good thing I didn't read any more because I talked for way too long. So I think I had like a pretty good, like I liked all the books that I read this year, which is more what I want instead of reading a bunch of books, if you know what I mean. This year I made my goal for reading to just be 15 books. I would love to read way more than that, but you know, I only read 10 this past year, so who knows. But I bought all of the Pretty Little Liars books because those, I'd say majority of them were on that Book Outlet. That's what it's called, Book Outlet. That Book Outlet website, most of them were on there, so I got them all for like $2, and then the ones that weren't, and I just got them on Chapters/Indigo, and they were like $10. I only had to buy like 5 of them that weren't on the Book Outlet. I'm gonna try and read all of those, but there's like 18 of those, so I don't know if I'll read all of them, because there's other books I want to read this year. I really enjoyed making this video, so if you want to see like more book videos from me, please let me know, because I actually really enjoyed this. Because I don't have any friends. I only have one friend that like reads. My brother and I are having a reading competition, who can read the most pages, so hopefully I win that. But if you like this video, make sure to subscribe and give it a big thumbs up. Comment down below books you think I should read, books if you read any of these books, what you think. Anything. Comment also other videos you would like to see from me. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter, which will be on the screen and in the description box below. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye!